Hello, hello everybody. I'm so excited to be joining you for our awesome watch and stitch. For today's project, we will be working on our folded fabric border blocks. Now this part of our watch and stitch comes with 5 blocks, and you will have one little embroidery that you can merge onto those blocks if desired. So in order to begin our project for today, you're going to go ahead and load your desired border block. We will be using our FFB4 border block design, and we are also merging our ladybug on there as well. So once you have both designs loaded into your machine, you have your ladybug loaded on top of your design, we're going to go ahead and hoop a piece of no-show mesh stabilizer. Now, as you know, we use our no-show mesh stabilizer for our quilt blocks, and that's exactly what we're going to be building today. So go ahead and place your design in the machine. We're going to run our first machine step, which will be the squaring stitch for our batting. Now I'm going to go ahead and run the squaring stitch and the tacking stitch for everything that we need in black so that you can see, hopefully have a good view of our stitching. And have no fear, even though we are using the color black, you will not see this throughout your design. So that's always a plus. Now this awesome part of our watch and stitch series is pretty fun. We show you different varieties of ways to use your folded fabric blocks. Now you're going to notice when you get this tutorial that we don't exactly tell you what size you need to cut your folded fabric pieces. You're just going to have to measure accordingly as you go to ensure that you're covering all of your basics. So for this one, as you see, it's going to be not like your traditional folded fabric block, which is really exciting. So now that we have our first machine step run for our squaring stitch for our batting, go ahead, lay your batting over top of your squaring stitch. Be sure to cover that completely. Now run your next machine step, which will be your tacking stitch. I hope you all are having a fantastic day. I'm so excited to be here with you all. While I have my tacking stitch running, I just wanted to show you guys a few things. Now we have here 2 different colors of fabric that we will be using for our folded fabric borders. Now once this stops stitching, I'll put it towards our camera that we have here on the lower end of our machine so you can have a better look at the colors that I selected, but I decided to go with an earthy color as we use our fun ladybug. So we're going to do 2 different variations of a cotton fabric. I have a grunge fabric as well as a regular green basic cotton. Now we just have a little bloop with the needle right here, so I'm going to go ahead and fix that. Okay. Okay. So for our ladybug design, you will have 3 different portions where you will need to use applique. So for this one, I'm using a red applique with some circles on it. That's pretty cute, decorative cotton. You can use any sort of material that you desire for this project. You will notice that I will be using 100% cotton for the entire thing, but have no fear, your creative abilities are endless. So use whatever materials you truly desire. Now, as I said before, I just wanted to give you a quick glimpse on the materials we'll be using. You can see here that I have this beautiful green. I love this color shade of green. It's really pretty. And I also chose a lighter green to go along with that grunge style. So now you can see that we have our batting all intact. We're going to go ahead, remove it from the sewing machine. We're going to use our handy, sharp, curved applique scissors to trim away that excess fabric. All right, now we have that excess material trimmed close to the tacking stitch line of our batting. We're gonna go ahead and lay our base fabric choice on top. Make sure you cover your batting completely. I am going with a white cotton for this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and lay my white cotton over top, and we will run our next step, which will be the tacking stitch. And again, my tacking stitch will be in black, but do not worry, you're not going to see it at the end, so black is perfectly okay. Now this is running the base of our design, so you will see this beautiful white cotton throughout it. Whether you choose to merge your own design on it or not, you can pick any sort of color scheme that you truly desire. Okay. Now it looks like I might have gotten a little ahead of myself on this one, which is completely okay. So I'm going to take a step back as I'm talking to you about this project. So we typically have a tacking stitch and a placement stitch. So I actually laid my base fabric down on accident before the tacking stitch, but no worries, that's completely okay because my tacking stitch is going to be a little bit different. So this tacking stitch is forming an octagon shape. So I will show you here in the machine that we have almost a stop sign looking design. This is completely okay. If you happen to run your fabric beforehand, that's fine, no worries. I'm going to go ahead and trim it, and what I will do is skip to the next step. So if you happen to do this like me and get a little bit angsty, no worries at all. You are not wrong. This is just a little bit of a faster way, I guess, of doing your project. So our next step is going to be to run our stippling. Now it looks like I forgot to grab our white stippling, so I might have part of our crew members who are working behind the camera grab me a white thread. If we could see if we could do that for me. We have an awesome team behind the camera crew today. So again, just in case you are tuning in, I have my base fabric tacked down in place. I've done some trimming, and we're going to go ahead and run that stippling. Thank you. Now, normally when we are running our stippling is this beautiful design that goes throughout your block. This is why we call our awesome quilting blocks here untraditional quilting, as our stippling is built right into the design. Now, normally when you run your stippling, you're going to want to use a matching thread. So I've went ahead and selected this white one, thanks to our team behind us who grabbed it for me. And I'm going to go ahead and run the stippling. Now, while I'm doing that, I think that it's time for a giveaway. So if you can comment down below, let's do cotton. Your word is cotton because that's the fabric that I'm going to use today. Comment down below cotton for a chance to win a $25 giveaway card. Woohoo! So don't forget, the magic word for today's gift card is cotton, $25. Now, while that's going, I want to also tell you about our flash sale. Now, today's flash sale is super fun. I'm actually truly obsessed with this one. It's Wildflowers in Watercolor that came out in February of 2018. I mean, this is just great detailing in here with this organza that we use for our watercolor. And just the line work around our borders, it's truly beautiful. Now this collection is on sale. It is originally $35, but for you it'll be 50% off. So make sure you hop on this before you miss out. This is so beautiful. You can see all the different kinds of colors that we did, the layering of the organza. Again, this is Wildflowers in watercolor that came out in February of 2018. Well, it looks like we still have some stippling to run, and I have a few other things I'd like to show you. If you are not an All Access member, you really should be, because we have some amazing deals for you all the time with our All Access Club. Exclusive content given to you with our DIY Anita, our mix and mashups and coordinating collections. You also receive All Access exclusive content as well that only our members will receive. However, if you are not a member, you can still purchase these collections singly, and I have a few here that are actually really pretty that I am truly obsessed with. So you can see here that we have our Midsummer Night Tapestry. Woo! Look at the beautiful detailing in this. It is so gorgeous. We used a velvet style for the background fabric. We used a gunneled thread, which is, it's so stunning. It has a sparkle all the way throughout the thread. That is what we used for the stippling of this design. We also used a lame for the borders. And if you absolutely love the way that this tapestry turned out, this amazing tile scene, our awesome seamstress Tammy put together a pillow as well. And I'm just saying, if Lauren can't find this in the sample closet, I mean, I might just have to take this home with me. So this one is done with a soft material as well. You can see we have added these fun little tassels on the side and used a metallic thread. This collection truly is mesmerizing with a metallic thread. Now, if you're not sure what gunneled thread is, I suggest definitely taking a look into that, because it truly can make your projects absolutely stunning. You may have seen that with some of our All Access exclusives if you're a member, where we use our bejeweled animal faces to create some stunning work. Now, I have my directions here, so I'm just going to take a peek at what we have next. After we finish running our stippling, it is time for our first set of borders. Now, have no fear when it comes to this. We have an amazing tutorial that teaches you exactly how to piece together your borders. Now, if you're tuning in and you've never heard of Watch and Stitch before, have no worries. That's exactly why we're here. We're here to have fun. We're here to talk about projects, and most importantly, joining us for our Watch and Stitch, which is only $30, and it comes for every single month. So we began this project idea in March. We have April and we already have May. Now we're into June, and there's so many wonderful projects that you can do, you can purchase, and what makes it even better is stitch alongside us. So if you're stitching alongside me today with our amazing June Watch and Stitch, I am so excited for us to be doing this together. I hope you're having fun. And yeah, you can go onto our website, you can purchase our Watch and Stitch for the previous months. You can still purchase June if you haven't already, no worries. There's a lot of amazing techniques. You're gonna learn how to do zipper bags and shrinky applique and Mylar cards. So you have a lot of really good stuff packed into one little booklet for you, which is only $30. So now that we have finished running the stippling, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to swap my thread color, because I want you to be able to see our placement stitch for our design. So this is going to be for our first folded fabric border. And again, although I'm using a black thread for our placement stitch, you won't see this when your block is finished. Alrighty, go ahead and run that placement stitch. And I almost forgot, I got ahead of myself here. Our amazing gift card giveaway. Our moderator will comment down below who is the amazing winner for that $25 gift card. Alrighty. So now I might keep this in the machine so you have a better look at what we have going on here. Now what I'm going to do is I've cut my fabric into 2 different sizes, and you probably saw that in the beginning where I had one that was larger and one that was smaller. We're going to go ahead and use that smaller one, which is our natural green cotton fabric. So what you're going to do is lay your cotton down, and you can see here that we have a line. We're going to make sure that we're covering that line maybe a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch. And you're going to want to make sure that your fabric is facing right side facing down. Now, of course, with cotton, you can't always tell whether it's right side facing down. And I'm sure you're asking me already, Brooke, what do we do with our folded fabric borders? Do we need an interfacing on the back? The answer is no. For your folded fabric borders, you do not need an interfacing, but if you would prefer to iron on an interfacing, you are very welcome to. It may help you decide which is the front and the back side of your fabric, but it is not a necessary thing to do. So now I'm going to go ahead and run my next machine step, which will be the folding stitch. And something that is another crucial part of your design is making sure that you have tape handy and available. Now we use an embroidery tape, which is the Floriani brand. You've seen it in probably many of our videos. It's a hot pink tape. It helps us know where we're placing things to make sure that we are not running over our wonderful stitches. And it's definitely going to come in handy. So once you have your folding stitch all set, you're going to go ahead and you're going to finger press your design and make sure it's nice and taut. Once you have your fabric all nice and taut, you're going to use that embroidery tape I was just talking about. You'll tape your design down and you'll run your next machine step, which will be the tacking stitch. And I will show you as soon as it is finished that all we would need to do at the end is a very crucial step. You do not want to miss out on this one. So when we have folded fabric borders, some of our borders come first. You may notice that in a folded fabric block, our top border will stitch and then our bottom border will stitch. And one of the crucial things we have to make sure that we do is trim the sides of our fabric. So I'm going to pull this out of the machine. I've already run my tacking stitch. And I am going to cut the sides of my fabric close to the tacking stitch line. Now this is crucial as you do not want your foot, your embroidery foot in your sewing machine to catch on that extra material. So you're going to want to make sure that you're taking those sharp curved applique scissors and we're going to trim that excess material. Now for now, I'm going to leave the top edge of my fabric just as it is for a future seam allowance. So we're going to leave the top edge. I may tape it in place just to make sure that everything's secure, so I'll grab a smaller piece of tape, but this is a very crucial step that you don't want to miss out on. So I'll put my hoop back into the machine, and you can kind of see here that we have our first folded fabric. I'd call it a corner, but I mean, I guess with the octagon, it's a little bit different. So we have our first piece. Now our next machine step is going to run the placement stitch for our other border. We're starting from the top and we are going clockwise to the next border. So I'm going to go ahead, run that placement stitch. Again, this is for our smaller border, so we're going to be using that same cotton fabric. All right, so now we are ready for our folding stitch. Now, what's best about this project is you have to do it 4 times for each different sized folding fabric. So you're gonna be quite the expert when you're done with this one. So we're gonna go ahead, lay our fabric. What we would say if you're using a print, you wanna make sure that it's right side facing down. Go ahead, run your next machine step, which will be the folding stitch. Alrighty. Now that we have our folding stitch all complete, go ahead and pull your fabric nice and taut. You can finger crease, or you can use an iron, whichever you desire. And we're going to tape that wonderful folded fabric down. We're going to run our next machine step, which will be the tacking stitch. Again, if you're just tuning in with me, I am using a black thread. That way you can see everything, but have no fear, you will not see the black thread at the end. Alrighty, now before I move on, I have to remember to trim my awesome corners. They need to be gone. We don't want them. We don't want to catch our embroidery foot in our machine. So you're going to want to make sure that you stop what you're doing and go ahead and trim. And again, I'm leaving that top edge as a future seam allowance. And a lot of the times you will see that our future seam allowance consists of 1/2 inch. This is just what we regularly use for our quilt blocks. It helps us in the end when piecing our quilt blocks together. So that is how you do these smaller borders. I'm going to go ahead and repeat that 2 more times for my bottom border and my side border. And then after that, we get to play around with some more fun borders and a little bit of applique. Now, as I've said before, just in case you were tuning in, this is our June watch and stitch. We have 5 awesome blocks for you to choose from. There's a different variety, whether it's regular folded fabric or it's funky like the one we're doing today. And design number 6, FFB6, will be our ladybug design. Because who doesn't love ladybugs? So now that we have that placement stitch, go ahead, lay your fabric face down, and we are going to run our folding stitch. Now, I want to bring up my flash sale once more for you all, because it's beautiful and I love it. Now, this is Wildflowers in Watercolor. Now, our watercolor technique is super beautiful. We use different forms of organza, whether it is light or dark, and you just honestly get to have fun with this one. Play around with a lot of different colors. There's beautiful line work in here. It's originally $35, and it is half off for you only. Whoop, whoop. So, it is such a fun project to do. It's beautiful. Make sure to check that out. All right, now we're going to go ahead and take our fabric. We're going to pull it nice and taut as we did before and tape it in place. Run your next machine step, which is going to be the tacking stitch. Now, since we're in the middle of these awesome border blocks, I think it's time to do another giveaway. Now, I think we should have some fun with this one. So, let's do ladybug. Whether you are typing ladybug or whether you are sending in a ladybug emoji, our moderator will be selecting an amazing winner. Let's shoot for a $20 gift card for our Anita peeps. All right, so now we are moving on to cutting the edges of our fabric. You're going to want to make sure that you leave the top edge again for a little bit of extra room. Now we'll run the next one. Hopefully I'm getting a lot of ladybugs in the chat right now. Again, this is for a $20 gift card to Anita. Once our awesome moderator has selected a winner for this $20 gift card, you can go ahead and reach out to customer service to claim your gift. Okay, so we have our placement stitch all set. We're going to go ahead and lay our fabric down and run our folding stitch. And what's best about this Floriani embroidery tape is that you have the ability to reuse this over and over. So you may find that I might be using the same pieces again and again throughout this project, which also comes in handy for you. All right, so we're folding our last little border. Pull it nice and taut, finger crease, run your next machine step, which is your tacking stitch. I hope you all are having fun with this one. Our first one was Shrinky Applique, so I hope that one was such a fun project for you all to do. And that's another one where you can play around with a lot of different textiles and have fun with your fabrics. Okay, so now we are moving on to the fun stuff. So we're going to make sure that we're cutting off the edges of our fabric. And now that we have our small borders complete, we're going to go ahead and move on to those larger borders. Now, like I said before, our tutorial does not give you the dimensions needed for your fabric. You're just going to have to measure along the way as we show you different ways to do your folded fabric borders. So I have my little friends here. These little end pieces are all taped down. I want to make sure that they will not shift or catch as they are running through the machine. And once we have this all set, you can kind of see where we are in our design. We're going to go ahead and run that placement stitch for that larger border. So go ahead, run that step. We have an awesome grunge green, like I was saying before. Again, for your folded fabric borders, you don't have to worry about backing these pieces of fabric. If you choose so, you're more than welcome to, but if you decide to not use your interfacing, that is from place. You can see we're in the upper left-hand corner. This is where our fabric print matters. So we want to make sure that we have the right side of our fabric facing down because we want that beautiful grunge print to show through. So I'm going to go ahead, lay this beautiful fabric down, run our next machine step, which will be the folding stitch. Now the cool thing about our folded fabric is if you choose to continue running a darker thread, that's okay. That's completely okay because as you move forward and as you start to sew your blocks together, you're not going to see your tacking stitch lines. So I'm going to continue the process with my black thread, and as you may see it around the edges of your fabric, no worries, you will not see that in the end. So what we're going to do is pull that fabric nice and taut. My piece is quite large, so I'm actually not going to tape it in place. It covers all the corners, and I am positive that it will not catch with the embroidery foot. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to run my next machine step, which will be the tacking stitch. Alrighty. And it's just as quick as that. That's what's fun about these folded fabric borders is you can play around with different colors, different cottons. We're going to run our next step, which will be the placement stitch for our upper right folded corner block. But yes, you can play around with all different sorts of fabrics. You can see we're using a grunge. All of the fabric that I'm using today is 100% cotton, but you can use silk dubiani, you can use flannel. Have fun with your prints as well. If you are using a directional print, you can even have more fun placing that fabric down as well for a little bit of extra detail to your project. Whichever you desire, it's truly up to you. Just remember, if you love to share your work. Please share it with us. We love seeing what you all come up with. And we also have our amazing social media gal, Julia Page, who is looking to post your work on our social media. So if you are someone who loves to share your designs and wants the world to see, don't forget to tag Julia Page in our Anita's Instagram, and she will take a look at those amazing designs. So now I'm going ahead and running my folding stitch. As you can see, my fabric is facing right side facing down because we want that beautiful grunge to show at the end. If you prefer to use tape, feel free to use tape. My pieces are a little bit larger to ensure that I don't need any tape and everything is going to fit accordingly. So I'm going to go ahead, fold my fabric, pull it nice and taut, and run my next machine step, which will be the tacking stitch. Now again, this is our watch and stitch for June. We are running our folded fabric border blocks. And it comes with 5 different designs and only 1 mergeable design. But have no fear, if you are not a fan of ladybugs, you are completely capable of merging any design that your heart truly desires. Okay. We're going to go ahead, run our next machine step, which is the placement stitch for the bottom right corner. Now our watch and stitch is quite a fun project as you get to learn new things, and the best part about it is you get to be right here with me stitching today. So if there are any of you out there who are stitching this amazing block with me, I'm super excited to be here with you as we stitch together. Okay. So now that I have my placement stitch, I'm going to go ahead, repeat the same process by laying my fabric right side facing down. I'm going to go ahead and run my next machine step, which is the folding stitch. Now again, you're going to want to bring it down like inside of your placement stitch by at least, maybe I've done it about 1/2 inch, but I've also had fabric to spare. Maybe you want to do 1/4 of an inch just to make sure that everything gets tacked down completely. Now we're going to go ahead and take our fabric. We're going to pull it towards us all nice and taut. And because my fabric is larger, again, I am not going to tape it in place. Run your next machine step, which will be your tacking stitch. Now we're going to repeat the same process on the other corner of our block, and then this will finish off the folded fabric border portion of our block. But if you want to see the final outcome, I hope you stick along with me. Maybe we'll even give another gift card along the way. I don't know, I'm feeling a little givey. I want to give a little gift card out. So maybe we'll continue to do that towards the end. Congratulations to our 2 winners that we've already had on their amazing gift card. So while this is going, I've demonstrated it a couple times, so let's talk a little bit about our all access. Now we have like this all access issue. It is our all access club. There are 3 different ways for you to sign up, and we have some awesome projects for you to choose from. Now I showed you our midnight tapestry, which was such a beautiful collection. If you can't tell how passionate I am about this awesome collection, then you are sure to love our birdies. Now we have this cute little line work collection here that is also featured in our issue as well. For June, we have a lot of amazing things. This is our blackwork birds that you are sure to love. I mean, look at it on this fun pillow. There's many different ways you can use this. What is the best part about it is it only comes in 1 color, and you have these beautiful bean stitches that kind of carry out the whole embroidery itself. So while you may not be using a bunch of colors or applique, you can let the bean stitch and this awesome work for itself. So that's what makes it truly special. All right, I'm going to go ahead and lay my fabric down, right side facing down. We're going to run our last folding stitch. So yes, this book. This June All Access book comes with amazing collections that you can get for an awesome deal. Whether it's exclusive content or it's a DIY with Anita, we have a lot of really fun stuff in there for you as an All Access exclusive member. Now, if you're not a member, of course you can purchase this amazing collection all on its own, but these are just some of the perks that come along with it, including our Midnight Tapestry, which is such a beautiful collection. I'll hold it up here one more time for you all to see. We used a white pillow for a little demonstration. Now this is a tile scene, but what's best about this Midsummer Night Tapestry is when you piece it together, you kind of can't tell that it's a tile scene. If you wanted to do just 3 blocks, which is awesome because as a tile scene, you know, if you're using 3 blocks, sometimes you might not get the full image. But with this collection, you can still get the full image semi-wet in your head with just a few blocks. And aside from that, if you wanted to display this true masterpiece, you can see how this amazing collection pieces together to create a one-of-a-kind tile scene. Now again, we used a velvet fabric for the background, which I love the feeling of this. It gives great dimension to this project. The gunneled thread really shows beautifully throughout the stippling of this design, and the lame just adds an extra bit of shine. So if you are someone who loves Midsummer Night Tapestry, you may want to check that one out because it's a good one. Okay, so now I have all my borders in place, and you can kind of see here in our camera view that it looks awesome. I love the colors that I chose for this. It's a different array of different greens that are going to really look good with our red ladybug. So now that we have our borders in place, we can go ahead and run our next machine step, which is where we are going to start our applique. Now luckily, my first step of applique is black, so I'm going to go ahead and use our black cotton. And again, you can use any sort of textile that you truly desire for this project. We are using 100% cotton for this design today, but if you wanted to use a silk dupioni, if you wanted to use a linen, any sort of fabric, a twill maybe you want a bright ladybug, you're more than welcome to use any textile that you truly desire for this project. So now we have our ladybug portion of our ladybug all set. We're going to go ahead, lay that applique on top of your ladybug placement stitch. Be sure to cover it completely and run your next machine step, which will be your tacking stitch. I hope you all are having fun. As I've said before, this is one of my favorite things to do with all of you. I love stitching beside you. Hopefully I will see some of my Winston-Salem friends that I actually got to visit in May. So hopefully you will be able to see me on here as we discussed at the show. So if you're here, welcome. Now I'm taking my sharp curved tip applique scissors. I'm going to trim around my excess, trim around my design, trimming away from my excess fabric. Okay, so now we have part of the ladybug body all set. We're going to go ahead. We're going to run our placement stitch for our wings. And for that portion, we're going to be using a fun red cotton. Now, as I said before, this design truly is unique in its own form. With our folded fabric blocks, they are coming blank so that you have the opportunity to merge your own designs on top of your quilt blocks. And if you choose not to add your designs, that's okay as well. It's just another way to add dimension throughout your quilt block with this different variety of folded fabric borders. So now I can go ahead and lay my red fabric over top of my placement stitch. Be sure to cover that completely. Run your next machine step, which will be your tacking stitch. Now don't forget, one of the best things about our video is if you hover over the little butterfly in the bottom corner, you can easily subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now why do you want to subscribe to our YouTube channel? It's all because you get amazing quality videos all from here at Anita Goodesign. Now, subscribing to our YouTube channel allows you to get notified every time we post so that you are the first ones to know when we have a brand new video for you. And whether that's our watch and stitch, or it's our fundamentals, or maybe you want to learn a little bit more about our quilting projects, subscribing to our YouTube channel is the best option. And don't forget, once you subscribe, tap that bell notification so you can get notified every time we post. It's one of the best things. You get a quick little notification and you can hop right on and join us. So now I'm taking my sharp curved tip applique scissors and I am trimming around the edge of my ladybug wings. I'm trimming close to the tacking stitch line. Now we trim close to the tacking stitch line as our applique is often secured with a satin stitch and we don't want any of the extra fabric poking out. So the best way to do it is to trim as close as possible. So our next step is to run the satin stitch for the ladybug body. So I'm going to go ahead and run that in black as that is the applique that I chose for the body. Make sure my folded fabric borders are out of the way. You can see I might have gotten a little too big on my fabric, but that's completely okay because you just want to make sure that at the end of your project, you leave room for a future seam allowance of 1/2 inch. So now I'm going to go ahead and let that satin stitch run. Now I want to bring out my little sale that I have going on here again because it truly is one of a kind. This little quilting collection is amazing, and you know what's even best about it? It features folded fabric borders. So this is Wildflowers in Watercolor. This came out in February of 2018. It's originally $35, but for you, it is 50% off. Now make sure to share this with all of your friends because this is a great deal on this beautiful collection. And also, if you enjoy this as much as we do, I'd love to see your folded fabric version of our quilting. So hopefully you learned some awesome tips and tricks today with me so that you can have fun when you create your one-of-a-kind piece. You can see here that we used a linen fabric. So like I said before, the creative choice is yours. Feel free to use any sort of fabric that you truly desire. The textiles that you choose can really enhance your project. Just like that gunneled stippling thread, your textiles can really change and add dimension and extra detail, such as if you use a silk Jupiani, make it really nice and shiny, or you can use the grunge like I did here to carry out your own theme and color palette. So this again is our Wildflowers in Watercolor, released in February of 2018. It is on sale for you for 50% off, originally $34.95. It's yours for 50% off. So we're going to move on to our next step, which will be the satin stitch around our ladybug wings. And for that, we used a red fabric, so I will be using a red thread. So we are almost done with our project here. We just have a few short steps before we finish. We will be doing the ladybug head and the antennas before we are all set. So you might already know this. This is your basic applique techniques. We're trimming down our applique to make sure it's out of the way for our beautiful satin stitches. We're running our embroidery. We're doing our machine steps. And it's looking amazing with our folded fabric in the end. As I've said before, it adds just that extra bit of detail to your quilt. Whether you would like to merge one of your own designs or not, the choice is yours. So we're going to go ahead and let this run, and while we're letting this run, I promise you that if you stayed a little bit longer with me, that we would give away one more gift card. So for this one, I will do a $25 gift card. All you need to do, comment down below red, and we will choose a winner for that awesome gift card. Now we've already had two amazing winners So I am super excited. And comment down below if you choose to spend your gift card, what will you be spending your gift card on? Now again, I have our June All Access issue right here in front of me. As you can see, I'd love to point out every time that our graphics team is truly talented. We have amazing people that come together to create an awesome cover and visualize this to our best ability. Now there's a lot of fun projects in here. We have our seasonal house trios, we have charming cottages, our regal black work birds, which I showed you here, that has that beautiful bean stitching in it. Again, regal black work birds. Our midnight summer tapestry, our sweet sayings, bold blossoms, and some of the even better ones, train track playmat, because that one is just amazing. It's honestly crazy to see what we can do here as a team at Anita. From our in-house artists to our digitizers to our amazing creative team, we truly do come together to try to make the best quilting and embroidery projects all for you. So I really hope that you'll take a look at our June 2022 recent releases, if you haven't already. We usually launch our book on the 1st of the month, so in case you've missed it, you can also check out a video where Lauren and I tell you everything you need to know about this awesome series. So we're still chugging along on our satin stitch, which might take a little bit more time. Luckily for us, I have an awesome crew behind the camera. They brought me a few samples I can show you. So here we have our, I believe this was our Bold Blossoms 4x4. Yep. So this is a 4x4 collection, and when I tell you that I am obsessed with this collection as it brings back a nostalgic memory from my early childhood, it reminds me of the Powerpuff Girls. I don't know, I'm getting Powerpuff Girls vibes from this, and I'm obsessed with that because it just brings back, you know, as a little girl watching the Powerpuff Girls on the TV. So this is really cute. It's a cute little 4x4, comes with your standard applique technique. You have all this beautiful dark black fabric that we chose to highlight each flower and their elements, and just the color scheme in general is a lot of fun. So we have our Bold Blossoms 4x4, and also we have here our Sweet Sayings collection. So this collection has a variety of blocks that have that checkered style feel. We have a light blue, a dark blue, and this amazing coral. Now it says, crazy plant lady, shine kindness, and enjoy the journey. So I hope you also love this collection as well. This is a recent release for this month. So that is also a great one. Okay, so our last steps in the process is the head of our ladybug. So this is just embroidery, so I'm going to go ahead and swap over to my black thread. For this project, I am using Floriani. Now, let's see. Okay. All right. Cool. So now we can go ahead and run the embroidery portion. That's the last two steps of this design, which makes it a great design altogether. You have a few different techniques in here. You have your folded fabric technique, your standard applique, embroidery, and quilting all packed in one. Now, just in case you have missed, you can place any design that you truly desire on this quilt block. Now, this set of 5 folded fabric borders comes with our watch and stitch, and you can choose between those folded fabric borders and whatever design that you would like to place on those borders. Now, what's the best about our quilting collections is that a majority of these collections come in our mix and match sizing, allowing you to piece together our quilts from a variety of collections to make them all yours. So whether you are purchasing this one that has this fantastic technique inside it, you will be able to utilize that throughout other collections. Now we're just finishing up on the head of our ladybug. We will then be moving on to our last color, which I will just go ahead and use the red. But before you head out, Please be sure to like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It helps us by showing us all the love that you can for our Watch and Stitch series and our YouTube in general. So please share the love, share this Watch and Stitch with your friends. And yeah, I hope you are all enjoying this awesome sewing time experience with me. All right. So we're still sewing the head. I thought it was about to stop on me, but no worries. We're all set. All we need to do is stitch the rest of our head. And like I said before, we're gonna go ahead and use the red for the antennas. Now what's cool about our particular design that we're placing on our block is you can see that there's portions of it that are overlapping our folded fabric borders. Now that's just a fun little way to size your design. If you would prefer for them to stay inside the folded fabric borders, you can select a smaller size. You can size it up or down on your machine, whichever you prefer. And one of the cool things about placing these designs that are mergeable is you can place them in any direction that you like. So when I merge my design, this is exactly how the ladybug formed out on my block. But if I wanted it to face in a different direction, I could most definitely change that as well. So we are on our last step. I just want to say a big congratulations to our 3 gift card winners for today. I hope you all enjoy your Anita gift card. And as always, I love to know what you're spending your gift card on, as I'm super crafty myself. So while you may see me behind the camera, writing your tutorials, or in person at events, I also like to craft too. So don't forget, if you love to show your designs, we have an awesome girl here who does our social media, who will love to feature you on our Anita's Instagram, Facebook, our Instagram stories, and all that good stuff. So the last few steps are very quick embroidery, as it does the little antennas on top of our ladybug. And that really does it. That completes our folded fabric block. Now, we've discussed a lot of fun things today throughout this whole little series. I hope that I was able to give you all good tips and tricks on how to do your folded fabric blocks to make them a little less scary. Now, although this is different from our normal blocks, you can kind of see that it's just as easy as it would be for a regular folded fabric border. Now there you have it. Our block is now complete. To complete this project, all you would need to do is take your ruler and rotary cutter and a mat and trim your block down to what we recommend as a 1/2 inch seam allowance for your design. I hope you all truly enjoyed this awesome stitch out with me. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like this video, share some love, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time.